Every year, millions of tons of waste are produced worldwide with no signs of it slowing down. Statistics from the World Bank state that with rapid population growth and urbanization, annual waste generation is expected to increase by 70% to 3.4 billion metric tons in 2050. Also, a report published in June 2020 by the United Nations Global E-Waste Monitor states that global e-waste has surged up to 21% in just 5 years, with a record 53.6 million metric tons of electronic waste generated worldwide in 2019. To tackle this environmental problem, Cleantech startups are at the forefront of this movement. The use of clean technology significantly improves energy efficiency and enables the sustainable use of resources or environmental protection activities. On this week's edition, Tokwe Suleiman, co-founder of Scrapays, discusses the issues in the clean tech industry.
Hey Tokwe, glad to have you on Tech Trends today.
Thank you very much, CFA, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. So let's start by getting your take on the startup ecosystem today.
So the startup ecosystem in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, is quite a very interesting one, with the fintech guys here and there taking all of the big wins and more of them coming up on a day-to-day basis. Outside of that, there are also very fantastic edtech companies, clean tech companies that are also coming up, that are also doing amazing stuff, but are yet to get the amount of recognition that the fintech guys have gotten so far. But I'm sure that in the next couple of months or years, they would also get to that place and be able to call that much attention to themselves as well.
It's interesting you mentioned fintech. Sometimes I wonder how startups like you would feel with all the rave and attention of fintechs.
So it's fantastic for us. It's fantastic because, and half of our business also have some sort of fintech solution incorporated into it. So it means that we also have the liberty to also play in that field and to get all of the returns or the yields that come from the fintech bubble as it is right now. So we know that it's something fantastic for us. And it also means that we can also get a very wonderful part of that as well.
Okay, but hopefully, I hope you mean bubble in the positive term, though.
Absolutely, yes, I do. In the positive term. I'm sure that this bubble is going to last way longer. So I know it's something that is continuous.
But the bubble get to bust someday.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. I understand.
Yeah. All right. So tell me, what are some of the issues that you think affecting the growth of the other startups in other verticals? What are some of the challenges you think affecting their growth?
So primarily because the fintech sector, like I said, has gotten a lot of investment, and investment in other parts are not as much as or near any of the parts in fintech, and that's essential because this capital ensures that this other side of businesses can grow and affect more people and reach more impact than they're supposed to. So we believe that as soon as they're able to grow to parts that are investable and to where they can be sure that their numbers are correct, they would also get this investment and be also grow as much as possible, get the recognition and get them where they're supposed to be as well as they go along.
So you are in a unique space, right? And and I wonder how you are able to push the narrative that you are also qualified to be called a startup.
So because we are in the recycling space, there are a lot of other businesses that are traditional recycling businesses, but we are not, right? Well, we've categorized ourselves as a clean tech and a recycling tech company. And the reason we've been able to do this is because we have offered offline and online technology so that we can facilitate collection of recyclable materials. And this puts us in that very unique space, right? So we've been able to use our technology to ensure that people get return and to ensure that all of the system is monitored from end to end. The financials running through all of the platform, and you can see the growth on a month-to-month basis, and also how it affects the traditional collection business that we're using it to drive.
The ecosystem and startups like yours continue to hammer on the fact that funding remains a challenge. What do you think can be done to sort of change that situation today? So
funding is one thing. The performance of the startup itself is another thing, right? We all know that investors are looking at startups that can grow and 10x or even more than that in their revenue. And it means that the startups in other space need to get themselves to where they can be sure that they can get investor confidence and be sure that that alone is going to be make sure investment is coming. If the confidence is not there, it's not about the finance or where the finance is going to come from. It's more that have you built a business? Do you have a structure that is scalable, and to ensure that that business that you've done, you can in 4 or 5 places launch simultaneously and get customers wanting your product every single day, with your numbers growing. If that is not fundamentally available, investments are not even going to come in. So for businesses like ourselves, we've been able to ensure that we can build the business to a stage where we say, yes, we've gotten to that place and we're getting our numbers, and we can then call on these investments to ensure that investment is important, but the add-on values on the investment are even more important in some cases, especially for startups like ourselves. So that's the way I say it, and that's the play between the investment and the startup itself from my own end.
So that means that it's not always true that they're not investments. It might be a challenge of lack of quality ideas or quality solutions.
Absolutely, CFA. Well, they say ideas are a dime in a dozen, right? So there are a lot of ideas, and execution is one key thing. So as a FI grad and going through the program as well, this is some of the things that are required to know the intricacies of how to grow a standard business. And this is what we've been able to do, and what other businesses are also advised to do, so that the basic and the structure to build that fundamental business that is then scalable and investable is done before you can then seek those investments. Investments are available in some cases. In our case, we've had interest from a number of persons, but we still needed to say that we have not gotten to that place that is on our own terms investable yet, and we needed to build to be sure that our growth path was clear before we could call in all of that.
Tokma, you recently competed in a competition and you came out victorious. I just wonder what the experience was like, and what lessons that you have for other startups coming behind you.
So it's interesting that you asked that question, because I was really smiling when you did. So the program that we competed in had, in fact, a 2 days workshop. This is so that you can be pitch perfect, right? And it was important because they had calibers, about 6 finalists that were on the competition, and it was really going against substance, right? So the bottom line, like I said before, is a substance, and for us, I think what made us clearly different was the impact that we potentially would make from the kind of business we're in. And it was glaring that with the technology and the way we've gone about putting all of it together, it was important for that impact, and they saw the impact that we possibly could deliver. So for any other person that wanted to compete in any competition whatsoever, like I said before, it's the content, right? It is what you have done over the couple of months that is going to say yes, then that is what you talk about. It's not about not having content and speaking all flamboyantly about it. It's what you've been able to do over the past few months. What is the growth that you've done? It is only then that you can confidently speak to anybody about it and be sure that you can get your message clear across. So for me, it is building, it is getting your hands dirty. I believe that as a co-founder, there's no job in your business that is too big for you to do. Right, it's getting to those numbers and getting to ensure that we can grow those fundamentals that is important, and that's what I will tell anybody to do first before even pitching out for any competition whatsoever.
I mean, I think that Cleantech like yours and green tech startups also play a very important role. So yes, the world needs to acknowledge the role that you guys play. But thank you for being on the show today. All the best.
Thank you very much, CFA, for having me. Thank you very much for putting me on your program. And hopefully we can get to have a bit more chats going forward.
Dr. Sulaiman, co-founder Scrapays, joins the growing list of clean tech startups trying to make our environment cleaner and ultimately making the earth better. If you look around, you'll surely be worried about the number of plastic waste and scraps littered all over the place. And sadly, many end up in our waters. So it is quite worrisome, which is why supporting innovators in this sector is also extremely important. It's a wrap on this edition of the show, but the conversation continues online. Join us on social media. Remember, you can watch the entire show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.